page of this program. It's called Fresh Fire Conference Online. Let me share my slide. Good morning, all. I just want to make sure we can get as many people on board online as well. Okay, let me see if I can give you that. Okay, so I welcome you. Good morning, all. I celebrate the grace of God upon Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Godwin Folarin. I celebrate all the leaders in the house, particularly those who are serving as ministers of the gospel, training all of us to become field ministers. The Lord bless you richly in Jesus' name. And for all the field ministers, young, old, ancient, and modern, I celebrate you all as well in Jesus' precious name. So as I was saying, for this conference, we are online on Facebook. I'm not sure YouTube has activated us yet. So if you go and Google, if you go and do on Facebook, Fresh Fire Conference Online, please do that and share. I have already shared sessions 1, 2, 3 yesterday, and I've shared this morning as well. So if you are on that and you can do that, please do so. It will go a long way in helping everybody. Thank you so much. I believe online is Pastor Molayo Adebi, one of our ministers. She's become a good friend and companion. She's also in South Africa in the gospel. The Lord bless you. Thank you for coming along. Okay, Pastor Tunji, thank you for yesterday. All the ministers administered yesterday, thank you so much. The Lord increase all of us mightily. Okay, so yesterday I gave us a quote, and I will be continuing with that quote. It says, "It is only after the flood that we can know the house built upon the rock, not before." If you hear this, you may not fully grasp what I am saying. Very simple words. Many people did not survive the COVID, though the COVID has been defeated, because they had pre-existing conditions. Pre-existing conditions are conditions one has before an event strikes. So many times people fail, not because of that particular occurring event, but because of events that had happened before then. Many marriages suffered a lot of fatality, not because of COVID, but because there was really no marriage in the first place. In the same vein, many ministries fared badly, not because of the COVID, but because of pre-existing conditions. So individuals also fared badly, not because of the COVID, but because of pre-existing conditions. Now we are going into the future. If we don't address certain matters now, the future may be tougher on us all as individuals or as ministries if we don't address. So whatever we have said yesterday and we are saying today applies to individuals and ministries. So those of you who did the assessment yesterday, you can do that same assessment with your, you can do that same assessment for your ministry. You can do it for your family. You can do it for your fellowship. You can do it for your department. Jesus in Matthew 7 told us that foolishness is building on the sand. Wisdom is building on the rock. And only the house on the rock will stand. So we took stock yesterday of where we are, and we asked ourselves questions of 8 pillars. What is the quality of what you own? Are they assets? Are they assets that generate income? And I do believe that if you listen carefully to all the speakers yesterday, it gave flesh to this. So we are moving on from there. What do you owe? What is the quality of what you owe? Can it kill you or is it helping you? Or is it just making you live a life that is not real? How do you earn? Do you earn more than you need? Are you earning from many sources? How do you spend? Are you prudent? Do you live below your income? How do you manage your surplus? How do you manage deficits? How financially literate are you? And are you a giver? So we did an assessment. I just did this. It's not anybody in particular. I just did it to show graphically, but I decided to take it a step further today and show you what it actually looks like. So what does this mean? It means this gentleman has potential to operate at least on circle 8, because on point 5, which is surplus management, he got to 8. But some things are limiting him. What are the things that are limiting him? If you look at his good points first, let's start with that. His good points is what he owns. Number 1, the first one is high. Is on line 7, I think. Yes. And then if you look at financial literacy, line 7, that's also high. And then if you look at surplus management, that's line 5, is also high. So what can we say about this person, male or female? It means he's financially literate, and as a result of that, he has been able to build an asset base that is enviable, and he also generates surplus. But what are his problems? He cannot fly. The best he can do is operate at the line that is within this shaded area. So he has potential to operate at circle 8, but is actually only going to be able to operate at circle 3, because it is circle 3 that is completely within this shaded area. So there is potential, but the reality, and the difference between potential and reality is frustration. So if you are here today frustrated, you are frustrated because you know your potential. Somehow or the other, you know your potential, but you are not maximizing that potential because of certain pre-existing conditions. So this young man, what are his own pre-existing conditions? They are 2, 4, and 8. So let me look at it. Number 4, he has bad spending habits. You can look at line 4. He doesn't spend well. And because of that, if you look at line 2, he uses credits. He even buys things on credit. He is able to generate surplus, but he's not generating enough surplus as he can because he's not spending well. And then if you look at number 8, he is a bad giver. So if you look at what Pastor Tuji taught us yesterday, because of his poor financial stewardship, a man of potential is crippled. So today I want to talk about the flood that is coming, because when God told Noah a flood is coming, he had to build this ark. Right now as we speak, a friend of mine, the one that I showed you that owns that school with fully run by panels, is in Kentucky at the moment. He lives in Houston, Katy, Texas, but he's in Kentucky now. He went to look at the live model of the Ark of Noah, and this is what it looks like. A man warned of God, moved with fear, and built an ark to the saving of his family. For a number of people, they will hear these messages and they will leave and not do anything about themselves. I am not so much interested as in giving you information and giving you a message, as much as getting you to do something. The parable of the sower told us that many people will get excited, but only 1 out of 8 will produce 100% of what you intended. My intended outcome is that you get financial freedom. What is financial freedom? Financial independence is the status of having enough income to pay one's living expenses for the rest of one's life without having to be employed or dependent on others. So some of you are to start this journey. You cannot be financially free today or tomorrow, but you know what we are doing and you begin to walk towards it. That is the ark God is asking you to build to save your family. And I also want to add, it is not only your life expense that you should take care of, you should also take care of your burial expenses. This day, people are buying their graveside, the clothes they want to wear, the flat. I mean, they put the money aside. So even when they die, their children don't need to spend a kobo. All they need to do right now is just agree the time and invite the church, and the rest is history. A number of people are in the mortuary for 1 year because their children don't have the means to bury them. So a lot of people right now are doing that. So that's why I added burial expenses. Pastor Kenneth, you need to please keep admitting people so I'm not distracted. All the people that have co-hosting right, please do that for me. Another definition says it means having enough savings. Are you hearing that? So the gentleman that we looked at has savings, but you could have more. Investments, when you save, you invest, and cash on hand to afford the lifestyle you want for yourself and your family. People that rose up to become directors lived in Ikoyi. After they resigned or retired at 65, because they had pre-existing conditions, they had to move back to their hometown where there is no light, no water. Before they are 70, they already have a stroke, because for the greater part of their life, they were taken care of by the federal government. Left to their own, they can't do anything, which is why many ministers, as they grew up in the ministry, they keep on still taking a larger chunk of the finances of the ministry to maintain their lifestyle. They leave nothing for the other ministers, branch pastors, area pastors that are coming, and then they have to go and start their own, and they repeat the same mistake. No, if we have a system in place that as we are paying salaries, we are and earning salaries, we are also working towards financial freedom so that we can maintain the lifestyle that we want. You decide that, and for your family as well. Growing a nest egg that will allow you to retire or pursue your career. For a number of us on this platform, it is about pursuing your career. Many times you know that what God is asking you to do may not be able to fetch you money. For instance, here is Pastor Godwin Folarin, called to minister to the youth. Apart from the many other things that he has to do, he has to pay data for people to come and hear. There are many pastors, after the service is over, they feed people and give people money. This money has to come from somewhere. So people will often tell you that there is a difference between your passion and your pot of stew. So you have to find a way to create a pot of stew as early as you can so that you can go and pursue what God is asking you to do. So many times what God is asking you to do will require money at the initial stages, but down the line, it will grow and be able to take care of itself. But at a point in time, you will need to generate money, which is why, to my mind, financial freedom is desirable. It is not so that you can retire and travel all over the world to show you that you have arrived, but is to be able to generate as much cash so that you don't need time and labor to make money. Like Pastor Ijaupo said yesterday, what now makes money for you is money that you have made. You are financially free when the money that you have made is making enough money for you that exceeds what you have made using time and labor. Let me repeat that. You are financially free when the money you have made is making more money for you that exceeds what you are making when you are using time and labor. So if you retire at a point in time, you don't drop your lifestyle because you have savings and investments, quality investments, that is able to sustain your lifestyle and the lifestyle of your children, and able to give you a decent burial without a kobo from anybody. Oh, sorry, I stopped sharing that by mistake. Just a minute, please. Okay. Now, this is a 4-wheel drive. It is tested and true. It only needs to touch the earth with maybe 2 tires, maybe 3, maybe 2. It doesn't need to touch the ground with 4. Once it can touch the ground with 2 tires, at any point in time, it will keep moving on, whether through swamp, rocky area, or sand, or ditch. That's why it's called 4-wheel. They work independently. Every of those 8 things that we have spoken to you about are things that must be in place so that no matter the flood that is coming, no matter the terrain you have to go through, no matter the economic period, no matter the geographical environment you are in, no matter your age, you are keep moving. That's what Psalm 1, somebody shared that with us. You are evergreen, always flourishing. That is the desire of God for your life. I want to say here, and I will say more on that tomorrow as we round up. There is nothing you want to do outside of obedience. Please, 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 we are teaching all these principles, but it is to the extent that you obey the person of the Lord, the principle of the Lord, and you walk in the ways of the Lord, that these things will become profitable unto you. In life, we are generally told to always do strategic analysis. Do your environmental scanning and do your strategic analysis. When you do that, you are expected to at least come up with 2 things that are internal to you, such as your strength and weakness, and things that are external to you, such as opportunities and threats. Okay? Okay. Now, things that are internal to you are areas where you are strong. Like the gentleman we spoke earlier on, he is strong in financial literacy, is strong in surplus management, and is strong in quality of assets. But he is weak in what? In spending habits. He is weak in credit utilization, and is weak in his giving. So what should he do with his strength? He should build it and enhance it. What should he do with his weaknesses? He should resolve it and reduce it. That's why somebody wants to come in. Now, if you look at the external things that he cannot control, he has no authority or control over them. These are called, the good ones are opportunities, the bad ones are called threats. The bad ones are called threats. So what does he do with the opportunities? You exploit, you expand. What do you do with your threat? You avoid, you thwart, you overcome. Now listen carefully. So what people do is to look for their strength to pursue opportunities. That is how you beat everybody hands down. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And then you make sure that the threats don't affect your weaknesses. The moment a threat affects you in the area of your weakness, you are challenged. So for instance, our young man in study is weak in giving. If the future, the next step to his breakthrough, like it has happened to me, is contingent on giving, if there is scarcity, he will not give because there is scarcity, because he doesn't have a culture of giving. And then God cannot be blamed. He has himself to blame. Okay, let's move forward. So what kind of future is ahead of all of us? What kind of horizon is ahead of us? Right now, people have pre-existing conditions and they are struggling, like this young man is struggling to keep his canoe afloat. But if we are struggling at this point in time, if all of us cannot boast of at least a round 5 within the box, a round 6 within the box, if all of us cannot boast of a 9 that is round within the box, if all of us can only boast of 1 that is within the box that is well rounded, or 2 that is well rounded, what do we do in the days when we have to contend with people on horses? There is a report that was published by the intelligence agency in the US in 2008. 2008 is 13 years ago. Anybody born 13 years ago is already in Form 3, is a teenager. The report was called Global Trends 2025. As at 13 years ago, they were predicting what will be shaping the world, not happening. Shaping, not happening, but shaping the world 4 years from now. They did not consult spiritual people. They only looked around them and did what is called environmental scanning. Somebody's mentioned that. And they found out that 7 things will shape the world in the days to come. Number 1, US will no longer be the world power. Power will now be shared. We are beginning to see that. Many agencies are coming up. But before I say that, when they wrote this report, they said that the reason for writing this report is that they hope that if you like what is going to happen, cooperate with it and make it happen fast for you. If you don't like what will happen, scuttle it. Make sure you do something about it. So if what is going to happen is going to complement your strength, cooperate with it. If what is going to happen is a threat that will affect your weakness, then eliminate the threat or adjust and strengthen your weakness. So if world power is going to shift, should we keep looking to America? If national wealth is going to shift, should we keep putting our money in dollars alone? These are the questions. If this is the future for you young people, people that are below 30, if you are hearing me, 50 years from now, I may be no more. But if you are 25, if you are 30 on this platform, 50 years from now, you'll be 80. You are going to live in this world. So you need to understand this. Don't live in my world. My own world has changed. The days of typewriter, the days of 090 are all gone. Your day is the day of hologram. Your day is the day of 7G, not even 5G. So if you're already afraid of 5G, you are living in history. You should be thinking of 7G, 8G, where terrestrial satellites, their terrestrial systems are connected with satellites. They said there will be population trends. Nigeria alone is going to become 400 million people by the year 2050. 30 years time, Nigeria will move from 220 million people to 400 million people. Begin to think of what that means for business. Begin to think of what that means for ministry. Begin to think of what that means for socio-economic challenges. If 200 million people were rioting, killing ourselves, when we become 400, what will be happening? Will our churches be full? Will our Christians be in the market field? How many people will you be selling to? All over the world, population will be growing in Africa, filled with young people, but elsewhere in the world, they will be getting older and dying. Africa will still remain the youngest population of people. Think about that, what that means. There will be potential for conflict escalation. This is 2008 when they began to tell us that Boko Haram is coming, Al-Qaeda is coming, ISIS is coming. But unfortunately, only few people prepared for that conflict. Not too many people prepared for it, including the church. Climate change is going to affect us, whether we like it or not. Thank God for people like Brother Adaju that is making us use a bit of the sun. Maybe that will take away some of the heat. They say multinational institutions will begin to die off. Their relevance, UN, IMF, WHO, they said they will die off. And you saw what happened when this pandemic came. Then the role of non-governmental organizations, they said churches, ministries, Islamic organizations will begin to operate like governments, and they'll begin to see ISIS. They mentioned Sunday Adelaja, they mentioned Matthew Ashimolowo. They didn't like the fact that Matthew Ashimolowo will have so much power. They didn't like the fact that Sunday Adelaja will have so much power. After this report came, both of them ran into problems. The threat in that they constituted, the government attacked their weakness, or the system attacked their weakness and took them out. Please, I want you to pay attention to what we are saying. There are more issues that affect you on a macro and global level that if you are not aware of, they will completely destroy whatever you are trying to do at your personal level. So you need to understand it at a personal level and understand it at a global level. Moving on from there, Jesus was asked, why are you not celebrating? Matthew 24, all these buildings, all these successes, all these achievements, all these cathedrals, all these billions that we have made, all these jets that we have bought. Jesus said, oh, I only wish you can look beyond the local into the global. I wish you can only look beyond the present time and look into the horizon. If you do, you will cry, because these buildings, there will not be one on top of another. And that happened historically. It is still going to happen again and again and again. Now, they said, Jesus, when will these things be? He now began to say to them, a time will come when many will say, I am the Messiah. I am like the Messiah. I am Antichrist, not opposite of Christ, but similar to Christ. I asked myself a question, how did Jesus know this? I now remember Revelation in chapter 6, when the scrolls were broken. I pray right now that your inner eye will open. What I'm saying to you right now, a bishop called me today and said, we need to discuss this. I need to understand this thing that you are sharing, because I shared it elsewhere. Child of God, open your ears and hear this. Try and understand this thing that I'm saying by the help of the Holy Spirit. When the lamb received the scroll and the first seal was broken, that's Revelation 6, there was a rider that was put on a white horse, given a crown, who went out to conquer and be conquered. This is somebody trying to be like Jesus that we saw in Revelation 19 on a white horse that is conquering. This one is trying to fake what is the real thing. And Jesus said in Matthew 24, many fake people will come. What is the meaning of this? Right now, there is a battle for the souls of men. LGBTQ, the lesbian community, that's part of the battle. The biggest project in town today is deception. Many Christians are being deceived. Only the truth will set us free. The second horse was a red horse. His job was to take peace away from the earth. Please mute. Was to take peace away from the earth, to make people kill one another. Please mute that person. Those that have control, please, so I won't be distracted. Look for where the green light is showing and mute the person. The green light will show that tells you the person talking. Now, in Matthew 24, how did Jesus explain to us what Revelation 6:3 and 4 says? He says, you will hear of wars and rumors of war. Please, everybody,
sorry, sir.
I need to mute this person. Apologies for that, because it will not only disturb us in the Zoom room, those watching online will find it also very distracting. So Jesus said nations will rise against nations. What is the challenge for us? There's going to be high intensity conflicts, there's going to be genocide, there's going to be media war, there's going to be asymmetric warfare, and there's going to be rape and banditry. Now, let me quickly give you an understanding before you slip off on me. The Jews understand what the Bible says about them, that they will be persecuted. If you have read Jewish phenomenon, what the Jewish people do is that they go to school to learn a job that they can do anywhere on the face of the earth. They don't go to school to get employed. They say to themselves, the biggest asset is not my car, because if war comes, they will destroy my car. It's not my house. If war comes, they will destroy my house. It's not money that I have in the bank, because if war comes, I may not be able to access it. It happened during the civil war in Nigeria. People that had money in the bank, they only gave them, I think, 50 pounds. So if you are trying to be financially free and then a war comes and you can't get your money, what happens? So what did the Jews do? They believe the highest asset you can own is knowledge that is within you, that you can take anywhere in the world. Like Segun Adaju now. Segun Adaju is wealthy, not because he has a house, a car, or a business in Nigeria, but because he has expert knowledge that even if war strikes today and he cannot take anything outside Nigeria, if he can find his way to Sierra Leone, if he can find his way to Ghana, if he can find his way to Afghanistan, he will keep on making money because he is a resourceful person. Your wealth is not your car, your house. It makes sense, but that is not your wealth. It's not even your bank account. It's not even Nigerian bureaus, money that you have in the stock exchange, because the companies behind those assets can be destroyed. They can be completely wiped out. And Jesus is saying here, they will come. Boko Haram is around the corner. I hope somebody is understanding what I am saying here today. Jesus said to us in Revelation 6, there's going to be a third horse. This one is a black horse. Jesus said in Matthew 24, it's going to lead to famines and earthquake. So there's going to be food insecurity, IDPs, internally displaced people, destruction of infrastructure, like it happened in Texas, where they had no light and water, and people were boiling snow, and people were using water from the swimming pool. If this kind of future happens to you, like the pandemic, the coronavirus, how can you respond? How can you be financially free? How can you be financially independent in those kind of situations? This is the flood that is and is coming. It is only houses that are built on the rock that will survive this. If you heard me yesterday and you have heard me emphasize it today, and you do nothing about yourself, in future, if you cry, you are only crying for your foolishness, not because God didn't send help. I come to you as an angel of light to say, take this conference seriously. Don't plan to be rich. Plan that wherever you find yourself, you can generate money. The fourth one, it says the pale horse or green horse, it will lead to all manner of death. Okay, people will die emotionally, people will leave the church, people will die spiritually, which is why that first charge, burning, people are dying spiritually. We have to burn. At the end of it all, there is a prophecy. The kingdoms of this world will become the kingdom of our God and of his Christ. You and I are the arrows in the hand of the master riding white horse. He has the bow. Anytime he has an assignment, he will put you an arrow in a bow and shoot you in a particular direction. Before that can happen, you have to be free financially to go. Many times you may need a trip. If you don't have money, you are not going. God believes in miracles. He does miracles, but he has also put systems in place that ensures that with or without miracle, you are a miracle going somewhere to happen. Position for the gospel of the kingdom that is going to be preached worldwide. We need a lot of people with a lot of money. We need a lot of people with a lot of money that can sponsor this gospel. The Bible says, with prosperity, your kingdom shall be spread abroad. And you as a person, you also need to be financially free so that you can go. Why are we saying this? It is only after the flood that we can know the house that is built upon the rock, not before. It is not attending this conference that will make you financially free. It is not oil being poured on your head and you do nothing that will make you financially free. It is not having a dream that you bought a house in Banana Island that will make you financially free. What will make you financially free is to find the rock, spiritually, physically, intellectually, materially, emotionally, and build on it so that no matter the pandemic, no matter the situation, you are able to thrive. The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and grant you grace and peace for the days of your life. Shalom in Jesus' name.